Whiskey friends, far and wide, we are live. Happy Tasty Tuesday, y'all. Happy Burns Night 2022. I'm Eric, your humble malt muser, beaming the signal from the Windy City, Chicago, Illinois. What's up, everybody? Hope you got something in the glass tonight. Burns Night, of course. And as always, before we get into our regularly scheduled Tasty Tuesday happy hour program this evening, I'm going to say hi to the early birds flooding into the chat, ponying up to the virtual bar. What is up, everybody? How are you? Let me get to the top of the chat and say hello to everyone in the house tonight. First in the door, it's Jupiter, Florida, Mr. Gerbic. Hey, y'all, eager to see which Glenfarclas you're unveiling tonight. All right. Yes. The mystery bottle will be unveiled shortly. And Glenfarclas, you are not the first person to guess that. Good to see you, Gary, out in San Francisco area. His thoughts as well. Good to see you, Gary. My other guess is Akintoshin. Okay. Those are good ones. Leo's in the house. What's up? Word on the street says it's the Farkless 25 2022. Okay. Glenfarclas, huh? I must have really dragged them through the dirt over these years. NoCal, it's Donner Pass. Happy Burns Night to you, sir. No haggis? Me neither. I did not bring any haggis with me. Sláinte to everybody from Daniel, East Texas. What's up, buddy? How are you doing, sir? Good to have you in the house. He's starting out with a Benromic 10. Great choice. And a Glenallachie 12 for Gerbic. All right. Some nice single malts in the glasses tonight so far. Good pours. Gerbic says he got the Glenallachie this week, but doesn't think it's the surprise bottle. Good point. It is not Glenallachie. I will say that. I am not a fan of Glenfarclas. This is true. Surprised how much he likes Benromic. Yeah, it's great. Great distillery. I actually got my eyes on a couple new ones. I have some that I still have to get to even. So hoping to get some more Benromic reviews out to folks coming up this year. Gerbic's throwing out Talisker as a guess. Okay. Yeah, I do not always love Talisker. Move to the Redbreast small batch. Good call. Good choices. Haven't had any Benromics in quite some time. The 10, the 15, both really, really good. The 21 is really good as well. I would also recommend, if you can still find it, the old Imperial Proof 10, which is like a 50% ABV. That one is an absolute killer. But to be honest, I have not had a Benromic that I didn't really like. So worth checking them out. Oh, Gerbic's just throwing spaghetti at the wall here. Glenfarclas, Akintoshin, Talisker, Dalmore, Kilchoman. All good guesses. He doesn't agree that it's that. Aberlour, that's a good guess, Gerbic. Another one, too, Macallan. Okay. The suburbs of Atlanta, Georgia. Hot Atlanta, although maybe not so hot these days. It's IC86. What's up? How are you doing, sir? Send your unwanted Kilhomans to IC86. All right, good to know. Bo Moore, he says. Okay, Gerbic, you're just throwing them out there tonight. All right. Sounds good. Belgium's in the house. It's Whiskey Lovers Society. Cheers. Happy Burns Night to you. Great to have you in on the late night. Awesome to have you joining us. Big fan of the Benromic and the Kilchoman from Donner Pass Whiskey. Good calls. Peter White, Ontario, Canada. Oh, he's guessing Jura. Nice guess. Jura may be it, he says. Okay. Fun. All right. Benromic, it's on my list lately. Yeah. Yeah, they're great. They're a great distillery. They do the old dunnage warehouses. They got a little bit of funk to them. They're kind of like similar to Glen Scotia in many ways. They got a little bit of that funk to them. Worth checking out. New York's in the house. What up, whiskey lovers and tubers? It's the Pickled Hound, Jack. How are you, Jack? Awesome to have you. Vancouver's here. It's Indy. What's up, Indy? Slaunch. Quad Cities. Other side of Illinois. It's Chris S. What's good, sir? Indy's asking, anybody snatched the new Glenallachie 10 batch 6? I have not. The last one I've had is the 5. It did make my whiskey. It was in the running for my Scotch of the Year last year for good reason. It's fantastic. I can only imagine the 6 is going to be as good, if not more. Bring on the haggis, says Leo. Yeah. Greetings, Muser and the Mongrels. It's Cohen, SoCal. What is going on, sir? Great to have you here. Glen Scotia, man, people got some good drams going tonight. 14 Festival Rum Cask finish. Good choices. There's Gary in the house. What happened to your Packers and Aaron Rodgers? I told you they were mediocre. I don't know. I don't think they were mediocre. I don't know. I got a lot of opinions. I'm still kind of going through the grief process of another lost season, but perhaps you are right, sir. Good to have you here nonetheless. How about we drink some Diageo? Do it. I am warmed up. Yes. Indy Dalmore, he says. All right. Good guess there. Yeah. The Great House is fantastic. Fantastic rum. The Great House 2021 is out too. I keep almost getting it, and I need to just make my choice on that. Finally grab that bottle. All right. We got 20 folks in, which is awesome. It's great to have everybody here. Jack's got some Bardstown Fusion in the office. Excellent. All right, y'all. I'm warming things up with a little Fittick 12. It's a good palate starter. So, Burns Night. I got a couple samples we'll probably dive into later tonight. But first, as I mentioned last week, the feature whiskey this week, I decided I would do it as a little bit of a surprise. The reason being, it is a distillery that's not exactly revered amongst many Scotch folks. But I think I like to say on the channel, I want to stay grounded. I don't want to get too biased and opinionated and want to, give distilleries their fair shot. It's been a long time since I've had a dram from this particular distillery. And, let's give it a try, see what it's got to offer. Also, sometimes you just come across a good deal. And when you do, you just need to pull the trigger. So, without further ado, we're going to get to this after I have just a little bit more of this Fittick 12. We've had some good guesses come in, and a lot of you are guessing some distilleries that would make a lot of sense. Glenfarclas, Dalmore, Kilchoman, Macallan. I mean, these are all distilleries that in some way I've, shied away from. Aberlour. But, distilleries can't be judged by just one or two bottles, right? I'm going to give them their fair shot. Maybe we're wrong. Sometimes you revisit something you haven't had in a long time. And, for folks who are new to the channel, I do want to make sure that I'm, not Xing things out in favor of just things that I know I will like for sure. I want to stay adventurous. I want to keep trying things. So let's do this. Without further ado. Ladies and gentlemen, the Dalmore Cigar Malt Reserve. This is the mystery bottle unveiled. We are going to uncork this one tonight. If there is a distillery that I think I've avoided more than almost any, it might be this one. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to do a deep dive into Dalmore. We're going to talk a bit about Dalmore their place in the whiskey world, the good about them, the bad, the otherwise, and then we are going to taste what is actually a higher end bottle in their core range. I figure if this one can't do it, I'm not sure any really can that comes straight out of their distillery. So here we go. Daniel, thank you so much for the super chat, sir. Happy Burns Night to you. Appreciate it. Okay, here we go. I'm going to actually get this in the glass now. Oh, Lord. Okay, we're going to put this bad boy in the glass. We're going to open this bottle. We're going to get it a little bit of oxygen, and we will dive in. Let me know in the chat, what are your thoughts on Dalmore? Do I need to ask? Are there any Dalmores you've had independent or from the distillery that you actually liked? That any that you disliked? Would love to hear what folks have to say about it. And while this rests, I will gonna give you a rundown of what we're looking at here tonight with the Dalmore Cigar Malt Reserve. Okay. All right. Let me just do a quick checkup on the chat. Everybody doing okay? Dalmore. Yes, you did. Indy, you got it right. No, surprisingly not. I got it at probably the best price you can find these at these days. And it was one of those spur of the moment things. I said, the hell with it. Let's try it. Dalmore, never had it. Great choice. This will be fun. It should be fun. We will see. Peter White, yes. The Dalmore E150A Reserve. No, maybe we'll talk about doing a little sample, sharing some samples of this sometime in the future. I will keep your name in the house on that. Oh, shit, never would have thought about that, but well done. Yeah, I didn't quite think I would either. Caramel, yeah, indeed. Michael Basley, Dalmore 18 is one of the only whiskeys I have ever drain poured. Undrinkable for me anyway. Since that experience, I've never gone back to it. Yeah. Did you find that bottle in the trash? Tom and Tool cigar malt is much better. But he bought me the 12 sherry that night. I thought it was good, said Leo. Right on. I did recently try the SMWS 14-inch bourbon age from Dalmore around 16. It was spectacular. Yeah. Man, great shopping day. No Name 3, Tamdu Batch 5, Highland Parks. Jeez. Party over at Cohen's. Cigar malt isn't actually bad at a good price. All right. So opinions are about as expected. We got a few folks who don't hate Dalmore. But why don't we get into Dalmore? First of all, before we talk about why everybody hates Dalmore, and again, if you're new to whiskey, this will be a good primer on a distillery that causes a lot of, I won't even say division, eye rolls from many people who've been in the Scotch drinking world for a while. So first and foremost, this is the bottle that we are looking at. Let's talk about the positives first, shall we? Okay. First of all, minus the giant plastic stag, the Dalmore does have a pretty nice presentation. I do like their the shape of their bottle. Pretty minimalist, looks good on a shelf, which is what it's designed to do. Just a small label on the bottom. I do like their presentations. One other thing I'll mention is that I actually also think they choose some pretty good casks. And in fact, maybe are one of the distilleries that has access to some really, really good casks. And this bottle in particular is one that I think at least is trying, or it is going to attempt to try to display some of that. So the maturation on this Dalmore Cigar Malt Reserve is, first of all, it's 44% ABV. So it's a little bit higher on the ABV than most Dalmores. Even their 18-year-old comes in at a sad 40%. The maturation on this is 70% Methuselah sherry. Now, Methuselah sherry is essentially Methuselah sherry is an Oloroso PX kind of mix, kind of a higher end sherry, and has to be at least 30 years old. So the cask, 70% of this was in Methuselah casks that were at least 30 years old. 20% of this American White Oak X Bourbon, 10% Cabernet Sauvignon. So there's a little bit of wine cask thing going on here too. The original cigar malt, from what I understand, was a 40% ABV whiskey that they stopped running, and because of demand, I guess, they decided to bring it back a few years later, looking like this. This is bottled at 44% ABV, as I mentioned. There is no age statement. Internet research says it's about that, between 10 and 15 years old, give or take. I don't know. The giant plastic stag, 12-point stag. Weird story behind this. Year 1200 something, King Alexander was about to get charged by a stag. Some guy from a Mackenzie clan saved him. He honored them by giving their family the 12-year-old, or the 12-point stag as their family emblem. And then they ended up coming into Dalmore 1867, the distillery, the Mackenzies, and adorned their bottle with these plastic stags. This has gotten bigger over the years. It used to be a smaller emblem. It's bigger with the way they've rebranded it. Okay, so that's the positive and maybe the interesting about this Highland malt. Let's talk about why everybody hates Dalmore. So Dalmore, first and foremost, is there's two major reasons people hate on Dalmore. Number one is honestly the presentation of their whiskey. And what I mean by that is, just look at this whiskey. That you may think, oh, wow, that's a really beautiful, lot of sherry color. This has probably, arguably, at least visually, the most caramel colorant added to a single malt than I think I've seen. They are notorious for drenching their whiskey in E158 colorant to get these amazing colors that don't actually exist from any actual whiskey you would buy. Second, they chill filter, of course. Third, most of their whiskeys are 40% and they're overpriced. So, for example, the 12-year-old, which is a sherry, bourbon X sherry kind of 12-year-old whiskey, comes in at some of those prices like the Macallan. You're talking like $70, $60 to $70 for these 12-year-olds, sometimes more than that. And it's bottled at 40%, tons of color, chill filter. This is an all-flash, minimal substance type whiskey. And it's exemplified by their, up until recently, their long employed whiskey master distiller, Richard Patterson. You've probably seen his videos on YouTube if you've ever looked up Scotch whiskey for beginners or how do you drink Scotch. He's the guy in the sharp, slick suit with his Dalmore bottles, swishing it around, throwing the first dram on the ground because you want to coat the glass, etc., etc. He's pompous. He's pretty ridiculous. And he's been with Wyatt McKay for, 40-some years, but he became sort of a face of Scotch whiskey. So, yeah, for those of us who have been in the single malt world, trying different single malts for a lot of years now, we've probably all had a Dalmore, probably in the earlier years before we knew too much, because we saw that on the shelf and it looks kind of flashy and the color looks really nice. Maybe you didn't know too much. Dalmore 12 was definitely one of the first bottles that I ever bought. It wasn't very impressive. It was okay, but it wasn't worth the price. I remember thinking, is there supposed to be a sulfur flavor this much in whiskey? I don't know. I have not bought a Dalmore whiskey since then, and that must have been in 2015-ish. It's been a long time. I have had one Dalmore between now and then, and that was a independent bottling, which was actually quite good. But of course, right, much like distilleries like Bowmore, to some degree, maybe Aberlour, when you get independent versions, Kalila, when you get independent versions, you get the higher ABV. They're not filled with what you see in here, the colorant. They're not chill filtered. They're higher ABV. They taste really damn good. Okay, so that's the history of this, iconoclastic, stupid distillery. Here's the box. It's a bright red box. Again, Cigar Malt Reserve, matured in American White Oak, Methuselah, Oloroso Sherry, Cabernet Sauvignon, Barriques. Final thing we're going to talk about before we get into this is the cigar thing of this. So no, there's not actually cigar tobacco flavor in this. There's never any, it doesn't taste like a cigar in any way. The whiskey is purportedly designed to complement a cigar. Now, looking at the maturations on this, you know, my instinct when I would smoke cigars is like you want something heavily peated, right? And sometimes those really work. You get an Ardbeg, Laphroaig, Lagavulin, whatever. It works. But a nice full-bodied earthy cigar goes really well in contrast with a sweet sherried whiskey. I've had a couple cigars in my day sipping nice Glendronachs, for example. So this is supposed to complement that. All right, enough talk. I think that's given that enough time to rest. Since we don't know how old it is, what does it really matter? Again, 70% Methuselah sherry. Those are 30-year-old bottles or 30-year-old barrels. I think they're butts, probably. Methuselah sherry, PX Oloroso mix. 20% bourbon, 10% Cabernet Sauvignon. And here we go. All right, let me show you. I mean, the color of this in the glass alone is just going to be enough to make you question my judgment. I mean, it almost looks too fake, doesn't it? I mean, have you seen anything? It's got this like dull red hue to it, like that. I'm sorry. It just does not look very real. It looks almost like a glass of what you call it, like rosé. All right, we're gonna give this a little stroll in the glass. Let me know in the chat, has anybody had a Dalmore Cigar Malt Reserve? What do you think? I should mention before we go further, this retails in the US these days around $165, which is just an incredibly high price. I got this at a really nice price, under 120. So I said, screw it, I'm going to try it out. Just one more look at this. And here we go. Dalmore Cigar Malt Reserve. Happy Burns Night, y'all. On the nose. Quite nice. There's a nice kind of deep sherry spice to it, a little leathery. The unmistakable kind of orange honey going on. This is a Highland malt, but whatever. There's a bit of a sweet red fruit too. It's not a strong nose, but it's very designed. Very intentional, and it smells quite nice. I am not even going to lie. Putting all my biases aside, I'm going to be as objective as possible with this. This is a pretty nice nose. There's a little bit of a cinnamon spice, a little bit of oak. Everything is very in balance here. That vanilla note in the background is really nice. It's just kind of rounding everything off. All right. So far, so good. Nice nose. It's a little bit even keel. Nothing is really popping. No alcohol bite. Nothing like that. No sharp edges. Nice nose. Here we go. Happy Burns Night, y'all. Slanch. Well, let's do one more, just to make sure. Okay. This arrives a little bit, and this isn't going to surprise probably any of you, a little languid on the palate. It's not a very viscous whiskey. It is actually quite slippery, quite kind of light-bodied. It does arrive with a decent amount of complexity, sweetness. Again, I think it's coming from the PX. There's a bit of a dry note, not tannic from the Cabernet. It's kind of like dried berries. Nice. Vanilla cinnamon, pretty good. As it goes along, however, it does kind of peter out a little bit. I'm left with a lot of honey and orange. It's going into kind of a short medium finish. Vanilla, orange. You know, this nose is great. I won't even say it's good. This is a great nose. But it starts out promising, but it's a little bit downhill from there. It's not bad. It's just not great. Let's try this, another neat sip, and then we'll put some water on it. Oh, man, see, now I'm getting this kind of like slight little alkaline note at the end. Again, it does have this, it's almost like the flavor doesn't match the viscosity. And like I said, this is more of a light-bodied whiskey, but it's almost as if it's not that it's watery, but, and again, I don't know if this is caramel color or not, but there's like something in it. It'd be just kind of like a very neutral, like marzipan kind of thing going on. But let's try another sip, Nate. It's not bad. The thing that's really kind of bothering me about this is that it arrives, the nose is great. Like I said, it arrives really nice. But it does fade out a little bit on the back end of the development. And the finish, you are left with a little bit of kind of dried fruit, a bit of vanilla, cinnamon, slight orange citrus thing going on, but it's just kind of weak. There's a little bit of a dark chocolate. It's missing a bit. It's missing a bit on the back end. There's a lot of flash to this. It's just missing a bit on the back end. This isn't a bad whiskey. I'm going to tell you right now. I don't know if it's better than I expected yet. We're going to try it with some water. But there's something weird about the finish. It's like it's flat. There's a flatness to it. There's this overriding flatness that, while you're getting some of these notes popping up here and there, there's like another flavor that doesn't have a very strong descriptor to it. That's just kind of like hanging around. And I can't quite figure out what it is. Again, it's almost just like a little bit of orange, like a very light orange. I don't know. Let's see what happens with some water. We already know we're not going to get any Scotch mist because, well, it's Dalmore. Okay, water. Oh, it kicks up that nose. The spices on that nose kick up quite a bit. Vanilla, cinnamon. There's like a slight floral. Now it's starting to show a little more edginess to it. Maybe a little bit of mint or alcohol. I think the nose is taking a step back. Let's see what the legs look like. I mean, they're pretty coming down, pretty sheeting real quick. Not very fat. Okay. I'm trying to think of a whiskey. It's more of the dark fruit notes on this, more on the like dark berry side, blackberry, raspberry kind of thing. Here we go. I'm trying to put my bias aside. I'm trying to put away anything I know about this. I'm just trying to concentrate on this whiskey, and I don't love it. I don't hate it though either. What is this comparable to? This is comparable to a Glendronach 12. This is maybe just a little bit darker. So maybe something like, yeah, Glendronach 12. Let me think. It's not as rich and deep as like a Glendronach 15. So like right off the bat, this is not a Glendronach 15, which for me is like a 4.25 whiskey. I do like the Cabernet. In fact, maybe it would have been nice if they would have put a little bit more in it. I like how it removes any oak dryingness, and it's more of like a red wine tannic dryingness, which actually I'm kind of enjoying. What else could be compared to? Macallan 12 Sherry Oak. Bit more complex. Great fucking nose, though. Wow. The nose really makes you think you're in for a treat. But I gotta say that the palate peters out a bit on the back end, and the finish just doesn't quite deliver what you want. It's just not rich enough. There's not enough like body to this. It's a little bit too light for what they're doing here. Again, it's a non-age statement. They say it's 10 to 15 years. The sherry notes are on the drier side, the darker side, which makes me think, okay, I could buy 15 years, a lot of 15-year-old whiskey in here. They're 30-year-old sherry casks, whatever. I don't have much comparison for that. I'll tell you, the nose is just divine. It has character. There's a nice warmth to it. There's a little bit of effervescence even. Let's go for another taste. It's just right after you swallow that there's just this like gaping hole, and you're like, what happened? It comes back a little bit. You don't get those nice surges of flavor on the after. It kind of just dies out. The slightest sour note. Let me take that back. The slightest bitter note on the back end. But there are no edges on this whiskey at all. So this isn't underwhelming because it's, edgy, sharp. It is not a sharp whiskey. It is a very smooth whiskey. It is a very kind of creamy, palatable whiskey, despite it being a little bit light on the palate. Just that chocolate, even with water, is not picking up very much. It's there, but it's just not pushing through. Okay, look. I've always kind of felt like and I've, not had every whiskey in the world by any stretch, but I've always kind of felt as though the E150A versus non-chill filter, right? Yes, I think the ideal whiskey should have neither. However, I think if you have to choose one or the other to have in your whiskey, I would rather have fake colorant in my whiskey than chill filtration. Generally, I have felt like that the chill filtration does more damage to a whiskey than color. This is probably one of the whiskeys where I feel like I can say that it reminds me of another whiskey that has a lot of fake colorant in it, and that's Auchentoshan. I'm thinking about the Auchentoshan American Oak or the Auchentoshan 12, where I almost feel as though you can taste the kind of slightly syrupy, neutral flavor of the colorant. And I do feel like I can detect it a bit here. And I can't say that in any other whiskey with colorant that I've ever tasted it. It's really just these two. So I think that takes away a lot from this. It is a beautiful color to look at if a whiskey actually looked like this. Again, I do enjoy their presentation. I think it's sans the like kind of ostentatious stag. I think it's a nice looking bottle. 100. I mean, these are $150, $160 USD. No, do not spend your money on this. It is a decent whiskey for sure. You'd like to see this around more like $110. I know they're using these great old casks, which they have access to, but the problem here is, even at 44%, it doesn't deliver fully what it should. It's missing it's missing a nice rich finish. It's missing a richness in general that, okay, maybe a cigar whiskey is supposed to be lighter. I don't know, but I'm thinking a nice earthy cigar would go well with this. If it had a little more body, it would go even better. I really do feel like I can taste the colorant. And I don't want to BS anybody, because that's not what I do here on the channel, and y'all know that. I try to be as honest about what I can know and don't know, and what I taste and don't taste. I feel like I can taste it in this, just like I feel like I could taste it in the Auchentoshan American Oak and the Auchentoshan 12. So look, $160, not worth the price. I wouldn't even pay what I paid for this again. I wish that nose delivered a little bit more. It's not a bad whiskey. It's worth giving it a try. I'm gonna be generous. I'm gonna give it a straight up 3 out of 5. I think is my prelim score. I will do a full review of this as I get in, but I'll sit 3.5 on this. 3 out of 5. It ain't the worst thing. I actually kind of expected it to be a bit worse. What I think I'm going to do as a contrast point in a couple of months, or maybe even sooner, I'm going to do a comparison with the unopened non-age statement Tamdu cigar malt. And we'll do a little cigar malt face-off. But look, yeah, great nose. I feel like it suffers from, I don't know whether it's age or just, there's this like almost, you ever have a diet soda and it has that aspartame thing? Take away the sweetness, but the kind of just that leftover, I don't know, chalky flavor. Do better, Dalmor. You're onto something with this. This is good. I mean, if they didn't put all the fake coloring in it, if they didn't chill filter it, it's bottled at 44%. That's fine. Would love to see 46. This is probably a damn good whiskey, but its wings have been clipped, as Ralphie would say. I'll tell you, the first like 2 seconds of this, 3 seconds, you're like, oh, it just kind of slides into oblivion. Well, all right. That was fun. I hope you all enjoyed this. We're going to keep going, obviously, but I figured I had to make this kind of a surprise because, to be honest, I was going to be just as surprised tasting this. Again, this is the Cigar Malt Reserve from the Dalmor Highland Distillery, 44% ABV. Comes in a red box. Oh, and somebody told me, check this out. You can even put it on its little like stand, right? To show it off to everybody. Not bad stuff. If the price was a little lower, this is a 3.25, maybe even a 3.5. It's really, you're paying because Dalmor's is all about branding and name and presentation, and their whiskey suffers from it. And I think while this is probably the best Dalmor I've had, it still is evident here. It's evident here. I'm a little disappointed. I was hoping it would be just a little better, but it's not bad. I'll be honest. Yeah, prelim score, I'm in that 3. I almost want to go 3.25. It is a hair better than average, but it's just a damn expensive bottle. I don't think this is a repeat buy. And again, this aftertaste, there is not a whiskey outside of some of those Auchentoshans that I can point to this flavor from. And this flavor is fucking... It just tastes like there's something in here that shouldn't be. Anyways, okay. Pour myself another nice dram of this cigar malt, like a fancy ass. My look at the Dalmore. Let me catch up on the chat. We got 16 folks in. What up, y'all? Thank you, IC86. Yeah. That was this is better without water. This is definitely better without water. 4.5 out of 5. Not so much. Not quite. Why are you buying Dalmore? I thought I raised you better than that. Go on. Oh, man. As I was saying, I haven't had a Dalmore in... First of all, I thought it would be fun. Second of all, I haven't had a Dalmore in a long time. Really long time. And third, the price was just pretty good. And I was like, all right, fuck it. Let's try it. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to capture that smoke, cigar malt thing. Let's try it. Mm. It's not bad, man. It's just not great. It's too expensive for what they're asking for it. Can't help formatting shit. You can help it by not cooking away in the first place. There we go. That's why he would smell it and throw it on the floor. Yeah. Just knows it and drinks someone better. Yeah. Ben Demon Hunter's in the house. What's up, man? Ports and Glen Farkless 105. What's going on in Alberta? Luis is in the house. Luis, how are you, sir? Good to see you. Don't get why these type of brands don't make at least one core product they can show off what they can actually do. I mean, that's the thing here, right? Like they have access to good casks. There's just something off about this. I was hoping if there's going to be a Dalmore that was worth drinking, it would be this. I have not had the King Alexander, and I'm not going to buy it, but this will probably be the last. Yeah, Winston knew I was doing Dalmore, so he's hiding out in the other room, man. He didn't even want to be in the same room as me. Doesn't even have an age statement, just now. Yeah. When are you going to open that Adelphi Ben Nevis Castering Sherry? It's on the list. I don't know when exactly. I'd have to go back through. Probably in the next month. It's going to be. I think what I'm going to do is a Ben Nevis night. We'll do some Ben Nevis. I have a couple different ones now, so we'll do a little taste comparison kind of thing. So probably in the next couple of weeks or so. 3, 5 years from this. Well, for me, 3 is average. So 3 is like an 8. 3 is between like a 79 and an 81, 82. So this is right in that kind of 80 range, It would be higher if it was a little cheaper, if it just had a little bit more on the back end. I think what they have going here, the elements are here. It just, yeah. I regret it. It's not a drain pour yet. Price the Tamdu cigar malt's like I think the same, like $1.60. That's going to be a fun one comparison. Maybe I'll actually do a cigar with that. Yeah, the cute stand, right? Yeah. All right, Dalmore. Still can't wrap my head around how a whiskey gets better or worse on its species. Well, it's not that it's better or worse. I think the difference is just that whether or not it should be purchased, right? I think there's a lot of good whiskeys or bad whiskeys or whatever whiskeys that depending on how much it costs, it's the value for money, right? My scores don't change too much on that. I'll either usually bump it if it's like a value pick, something that's really good and at a good price, I'll tick it up a 0.25. If it's way overpriced for what you're getting, I'll drop it at 0.25, but it doesn't have a huge variance, just a little. Yeah, I've heard about that. Seems like Dalmore is worse than Macallan. Yes, I think that's true. Yeah, Patreons might get a chance to get a taste of the old cigar malt. Also, that weird bitter chem aftertaste seems to come off excessively colored malts. Wondering. Great point, Jason. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, I've only really noticed this, and it's still in my mouth for the matter. I've only noticed this in the Akantoshan that I did, and I remember being off put by it. This is kind of confirming that that's what it is, because those are, filled with colorant and stuff. Shooters, yeah, feel free to join on Patreon. I appreciate the support. Yeah, we're getting close. We'll be doing the first raffle for folks soon, so I won't include this as the sample. Can't blame Winston. He does have good taste, but I don't know about yours anymore. I love it. Fair. No, that's totally fair. I do like to at least state that that's what I'm doing. So I will at least mention it as part of it. I don't think it ever makes or make or breaks anything, but fair. Good stuff. All right, so we're all caught up. Again, we got 15 folks in, which is great. I'm going to sip a little bit more of this. I have a couple of the samples that I think we'll dive into. One of them is from Andrew Page. This is a Glenallachie 23-year-old Alexander Murray 1995, 60.9% ABV. Single cask, ex-bourbon. Let's check that out. It is Burden's night after all. I can't only drink a Dalmore on Burns night, right? That would be sacrilege to the great Scottish poet. We'll get this Glenallachie in the glass. I also happen to have a couple other little things here and there. Maybe we'll get into. Fettercairn suffers from the same shocking wide and McKay treatment. Sadly, definitely lean towards IBs. I have never had a Fettercairn, so but that's really good to know. Jason Code says, totally a personal peeve of mine. Oh, yeah, right on. Totally. I get it. This is my, I'm just talking shit about his poetry or something like that. I don't know. Anyways. Yeah. Bummer. Oh, well. I'm not going to pretend I had high expectations. Put this back in the box. I think I'll know what I'll do with this. This will be that one where I'm like, people come over and they're like, oh, man, can I have some of that Allardyce? I'm like, oh, dude, you want to try something? Drink this. Just pour him the Dalmore. Yeah, I actually don't have that. I thought about picking it up because I thought it'd be a good whiskey to do on, but they don't sell it locally here. I'd have to get it online. Has anybody had that Aaron Robert Burns edition malt? I'm sure it's better than this Dalmore. Moldy sourdough. I didn't hate it. I'll have to try that. I didn't know they had a cigar malt. Maybe I should do that. We could do a 3-way Dalmore, Fettercairn, Tamdu cigar malt. Yeah. I'll put it right next to the Green Tube Lafroig 18. Sully the Lafroig shelf. Georgiana Webster, are you one of our Russian friends trolling us? I don't know what you're writing there. I think in Russian that means, in Russia, Dalmore drink you. You guys don't pay. I don't get paid for comedy, so. All right, let's finish this fucking dram. Good call. Wisdom. It's getting a little better. But then then it just kind of, you're reminded, what isn't better than Dalmore? That is the eternal question of the ages has come. What isn't better than Dalmore? I mean, if we're talking just single malts, fuck. I mean, I feel like Akintoshin now, but the problem is Akintoshin does have some decent stuff that in the higher age. I don't know if we can say the same thing about Dalmore here. Oh God, yeah, this is just sad whiskey. I almost feel like we got to drop it to a 2.75. This finish is just fucking sad. I'm not even gonna sigh. I'm not even gonna lie. This whiskey, you think, again, you nose it, it's like, wow, okay, this is pretty good. You taste it, hey, not bad, and then it just goes downhill, and you just get. I think Jason Coates said it best. It's just this like chemically almost. God, sad. Anyways, so things that are worse than Dalmore. I'm trying to think. Single malts. I mean, there's definitely going to be a few. I was going to say Bowmore, but no, Bowmore is still better. Jura, probably. Jura, I don't know what's wrong with Jura. That whiskey, there's just something wrong with that whiskey. I don't think I found a Jura that I find really worth buying. But then again, I don't know. Maybe they're neck and neck. And Oben's probably still better than them. I mean, Aberlour, outside of the Abuna, man, I don't know. There's not a fucking. I find it difficult to find any Aberlours that are really worth buying. They just have a little bit more integrity than this. Jura, yeah. Plenty worse than Dalmore, says Daniel. Jura, yeah. Dalmore's just boring and disappointing. There are plenty of other things which are actively bad. At least Bowmore was brazen enough to say it's the darkest. Yeah. Indian molasses-based whiskey isn't better than Dalmore. Jura Peated is the only good one. Jura Prophecy is spectacular. Okay. Aberlour 10 and 12 over the Dalmore 12. Wow. Look, I probably would agree with. I found Jura to just be really, really, really bad. It's just not an enjoyable thing to drink. And I had a couple. I had a really aged one with Telix once. It was like a 17 or an 18 or something like that. It was just, yeah. You know, Glenmorangie, some of their core stuff is pretty bad, but you know, they have some other things that are better. I think I would put that above it. New Jersey's in the house. What up, Andrew Page? I got this in December, Jura 7, the PX. Yeah, both are good. Had Jura 10 the past year. Was my worst whiskeys I ever had. Peated Jura, like Prophecy and Superstition, are good. And those are discontinued, if I'm not mistaken, right? Code said, and that doesn't mean I gave Dalmore 12 a high score. No, I probably wouldn't either. 4 points. Yeah, I mean, Dalmore, the Dalmore 12, again, it's been a long time since I had that, but that's a 2.25 whiskey for me. That's below average for sure. Yeah. Higher ABV Jura does wonders. The PX I have is at 48 ABV. Okay. That I believe. Okay, moving along to the rest of this sample. This is an Andrew Page sample. Alexander Murray Company, 1995 Glen Alecky 23, ex-bourbon hogshead, non-chill filtered, 60.9% ABV. We're going to move on to something real. Dude, yeah, Akintoshin, man. Fuck. That American oak is undrinkable, in my opinion. I found that to just be off. I didn't even do a review of it. I was just like, that was near a drain port. The 12 wasn't much better. I've heard some people say good things about the 3-wood, and I know, I had their 18, I had their 21, and I still thought that was abysmal. But they have some like cast strength stuff you can get here and there. I don't know how those are, but cast strength will at least give you a better display of their distillate. But they put so much fake coloring in that crap. This depth, ginger, spice, honey, toffee, vanilla, all the good stuff. What a nose. It's bright, it's sweet, golden fruits, pear, apple, a lot of nice bourbon notes, of course, from a bourbon cask. And again, we did an Alexander Murray last week. We did that Linkwood 19, which was really impressive. This Glenallachie, I can tell already. Andrew Page, if you remember, do you recall, I don't know if you got this as a sample in one of your kits or if you bought this bottle, but do you recall what this was? This is the 95 23-year-old Glenallachie Alexander Murray. Wow. So good. Glenallachie is one of those where, like, there's a lot of hype around them as being like the next Glendronach. Now that Glendronach is going down the Dalmore chutes and the Dalmore slide into increasingly neutering their whiskey. I have to say I've been like mixed with Glenallachie. Some of it's been really good. Some of it I haven't thought was all that amazing. Their 15 I didn't think was anything great. These independent Glenalleckies are really, really nice. This is great for a bourbon cask. And you know what I'm noticing in the fucking finish? It doesn't taste like chemicals, Richard Patterson. It doesn't taste like some strange gray paste, flavorless paste that's just taken the life out of its fucking finish. It's vibrant. It has actual flavors that are allowed to present themselves. That's the difference. So for the noobs in the house, when you go there and you see the Dalmore on the shelf and it looks like the bottle you see in a nice Scotch bar in a movie, pass, man. Pass on that. They are not in this to give you necessarily a great Scotch flavor, a great Scotch experience. They're trying to sell you a brand and a lifestyle, maybe. Macallan does an even better job than this. It took me 5.5 years to buy another one, and I can tell you right now, this will be the last. Unless somebody sends me a sample or goes halves on maybe I'll try the Dalmore King Alexander because people really love that. But other than that, I'm done. I won't be going back. For the money for that, you could get something really nice. This, however, fantastic. Happy Burns night, y'all. 21 folks in the house. I hope you guys are enjoying the show. Keeping things interesting. Feel free, if you're enjoying it, smash that like. If you haven't subscribed, we'd love to have you on. Review coming up this week. Let me just double check what my review is for you guys this week. Let me just. That's not right. I'm trying to go to the channel. One sec, y'all. This week I will have something for you. Friday. Oh, Aberlour Abuna Alba Batch 1. So that's the cask strength bourbon cask Aberlour. Ooh. I'll be dropping that on Friday. Patreons, you can expect that in your inbox probably tonight, if not early tomorrow morning. We'll have that one. I'm thinking about that one a lot as I drink this. And man, the difference a nice long age statement makes. This is really good. I'm going to put a little water on it. Again, this is 60.1%, and it's still drinkable neat, which is just incredible. And I think that's with the age. But I mean, even to have a whiskey, a 23-year-old whiskey coming in at 60%, I mean, how that even happens, I don't know. So often you see the ABVs, you know, they go down just because of oxidization and stuff. It was, yes. That was it's a fantastic pour. I definitely recommend you buying it if you haven't. Great stuff. If you like a sherry bomb with character it's not overly sherried. It's not, I shouldn't say it's not overly sherried. It allows space for the character of the actual distillate to come through. Tamdu's batch 5 of the cast strength release. Killer, it's under $100 or right around 100 depending where you're at. I would also say it is, if you get any of the batches, I believe the batch 6 has just come out, grab it without hesitation. You know, Scotland, man. He, you know, the New Year's song, right? You know, the poem that everybody sings on New Year's that doesn't make any sense. That's his. Should all acquaintance be forgot? That's him. He's just, you know, a famous poet. You know, they give Scotland their due, so they make a thing out of it. I guess that's what it's all about. And we can honor that great land of whiskey with good whiskey. I got it as one of the monthly bottles of Tasters Club. Is interested in comparing to the newer Glenallich's. He's been going through a lot of changes. Yeah, this is good. I mean, you don't find a lot of bourbon cask Glenallich's or solely bourbon cask. Matt, he says. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. Alba? Have you had that one? Newer Glenallich 12 is good. I've heard that, Cohen. Yeah, I've heard, like, you know, they're kind of doing the Springbank thing where you're not going to get the consistency each year. Like, you know, the 12 will be different each year, et cetera, just like Springbank 10. I'm good with that. Donner's got it going tonight. Next dram is a homemade one. Cadenhead Tomatin 10 finished mini PX seasoned for me 2 months. Oh, yeah, that would be fun. Do so, sir. He spits hot fire. Yeah, that would be cool. Donner pass to it. Yeah, dude. Let me know, Cohen. Hit me up in the email after you crack open that Tamdu batch 5. Yeah, that was my whiskey of the year. That whiskey made me reimagine what sherry bombs could be. I think that whiskey can go toe to toe with high age statement. I mean, it's an NAS, but Tamdu doesn't play. I think they can go. I think that can go head to head with some really, really high quality older sherries for sure. It's discovered Robert Burns Day every January 25th, his birthday. Yes, it is his birthday, right? Good stuff to know. Yes, Old Lang Syne. Yes, Bon Scott, Scotland's greatest poet ever. Cohen. All right. Time for the King Kong Sherry Bomb, the Irishman 17. Nice. Wish others would go the way of Springbank and eliminate packaging. Yes, I agree. Coates, Springbank went a bit overboard eliminating packaging. Since they did, they haven't seen a single tube or box or label or cork or bottle. You know, those boxes that they have, I think the one thing I would that annoys me a little bit about the Springbank boxes that they put those in. I don't know if they've got rid of it altogether, but they're just really thin. You know, Compass Box has done this too. Compass Box went with really thin boxes where it's like they seem like they could fall apart in your hand. I mean, at least if you're going to do it, make it a little bit quality. Paige says, I agree. I especially just like the metal tins. I put them in the recycling when I'm done. I'm not even sure they can be. Yeah, like Brocolati. Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, the packaging and stuff is all in general is annoying. I mean, I think it's in part because it's like, oh, you know, you don't want the sunlight and whatever to get in your whiskey, but also it seems unnecessary. I mean, bourbons don't do this. I don't know if it's just because of their presentation. I mean, the weird part about it is so many of these distilleries who could take advantage of packaging by sharing more about the whiskey that they're actually selling you, fucking don't, right? They don't tell you more about it. It's all just more fluff or the same thing they say on the back of the bottle. It's really annoying. You know, I wish all of them would do kind of what Balvenie, Compass Box. I mean, the ones that are really close to kind of doing things the right way, where you're sharing the maturation, what this thing has been sitting in, non-chill natural color, age statements, you know, ABV, like everything you would want to know that you don't want to have to look up on the internet. Fair. Yeah, they are. Paper thin. Don't forget that Highland Park site is 50% off merch on their site. Code is New Year 22. Really? You heard it here first, y'all. I'll leave that up for a second. Anyways, going back to this Glenallachie, what a great segue from the Dalmore Cigar Malt, which, by the way, was the mystery whiskey if you guys are just tuning in. Ginger. This is just... This was a nice kind of interplay because it's really like contrasting what is wrong about some whiskey distilleries and what's right about some others. Freaking delicious. I feel like Glenallachie is one of those whiskeys or distilleries you could really go down the rabbit hole with. Before you know it, I mean, there's no end. I mean, you'll have 30 different bottles. I didn't realize how long they've been making whiskey. There are so many different kind of indie releases and even just Glenallachie distillery releases. And you go on some of these like international websites, there's tons of Glenallachies. They're just putting out so much stuff. It's hard to know what to buy. I mean, it reminds me of, I think, what Cohen just mentioned, Highland Park here. Highland Park is one of those distilleries that, while I'm not sure they've been doing it for the better, they put out so much different stuff every year. It's impossible to keep track of it. All right. High marks on this Glenallachie. I mean, this is a 4.25 whiskey. For those of you who use the 100-point scale, 4 for me is anywhere between like an 89, 91. I have a hard time saying approximate numbers for anything. So 4, kind of, that's your range. A buy, depending on price. I don't know. Price is probably fine. 4.25, you're getting like 90, 92, 93. Awesome. All right. So I do want to share one thing with everybody before we get into another dram here on Burns Night. And we got 22 folks in, which is awesome, man. What's up, everybody? I hope you guys are having a good time. Enjoying Tasty Tuesday. But I'm going to show you right here. I'm going to do this without spilling it all over. This box. In this box, you will see 20 whiskey samples, all numbered as such. These are the blind samples for what is going to soon be released. Is a 20 rye blind tasting, which I'm calling one rye to rule them all. I am going to be releasing over the course of February and into March a 4 videos bracketed with 5 different whiskeys, rye whiskeys, which I will taste blind. The winner of each of them will be basically put into a final 4, which we will do in the beginning of March. And we will find out which is the rye that wins this. I do want to thank folks who chipped in Well, this was at least, I think, 2 weeks ago to move this from 16 to 20 because there were just some whiskeys in this that I wasn't able to sneak in. So I'm very excited for this. You'll see this in just about 2 weeks. I have been busy setting things up, getting ready to taste and record these. Basically, the way this is going to work and how this is blind, each one of these bottles has a color code dot on the bottom. And then they're all mixed up. I had a friend of mine put the numbers on them randomly. So I'm just going to do 1 through 5, 6 through 10, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to do 5 whiskey bracket shows. So there'll be 4 shows. There'll be a winner from each. And then from there, we'll have a final 4 and a winner. So the whiskeys that are in this, I tried to get a decent cross section of ryes, which is not as easy as you would think, given the sheer amount of them. Let me give you guys I'll give you all a sneak preview right now. So these are the rye whiskeys that are going to be in the One Rye to Rule Them All blind tournament. Sazerac Rye, Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Rye, Peerless Single Barrel Rye, Masterson's 10-year-old, Balcones Rye, Lot 40, Elijah Craig Rye, Michter Single Barrel Rye, Knob Creek Rye, Alberta Premium Cask Strength 65.1%. That was the Whiskey of the Year version. E.H. Taylor Straight Rye, Russell's Reserve Single Barrel Rye, Pikesville Rye, High West Double Rye, Bullitt Rye, Wilderness Trail Single Barrel Rye, Dickel Rye, Rittenhouse Bottled and Bond Rye, Barrel Canadian Cask Strength 13-year-old Rye, and Willet 4-year-old Rye. So all of those will be part of the 20 rye, One Rye to Rule Them All tournament. I think currently the plan is that, like I said, I will release them each week in February. I'll probably be dropping them Wednesday mornings. I have to figure that out, but I'm going to keep the regular Friday reviews going. So those will continue. And we're going to do it was a hard thing to pull together. I couldn't figure out, you can't include everything. But I feel like I got a healthy cross section. I got, some good Canadians in there, mostly American ryes. But this should be a lot of fun. And so essentially what I'm going to do is I'll drink them blind. But of course, when the videos post, I will have known the winner. So I will have the information in the videos. I'm going to kind of copy what our friends over at Scotch Test Dummies used to do with their blinds. Kind of like I'll have them up on the screen, eliminate them as it goes along. And then we'll have a winner. I will include the winner for those who want it that are Patreon supporters. That will be part of the goodie bag of the first Patreon sample raffle of the year. And so it should be a lot of fun. I do feel like I put together a really nice list of ryes here. And, like I said, you can't include them all, but this is going to be fun. And I've never done one of these at this scale before. I can tell you already that another thing in the works is going to be a sherry. It'll be a sherry shootout, similar to this kind of one rye to rule them all tournament. So I'll do some sherries, and maybe we'll do 20 sherry scotches or something like that. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But and honestly, this is possible mostly just because of folks who chipped in with super chats, folks who have become Patreon supporters. Like y'all have given me the ability to have a little bit more leeway to figure this out. I went out and bought, I have a lot of open rye whiskeys, y'all. If anyone wants to come over for rye old fashions, like let's do it, because I got more rye than I know what to do with right now. But it's all going to be fun, and so I'm looking forward to sharing that. And we'll see how it goes. And of course, would love to hear your feedback. I will plan on launching that. I think the first one will launch early next week, and then we will go from there. So just a heads up on that, y'all. Appreciate your support as always, and we'll definitely look forward to revealing the winner of the 20 rye tournament. I don't know if there's been a rye thing done before. I've seen the sherry, I've seen the peat, I've seen bourbon, but I'm not sure if I've seen a rye. So hope you guys like it. It is fun to put content together and share my dumb 2 thoughts about shit. So should be fun. We got 20 folks in. I'm going to move along to another sample here. But first, let me just catch up a bit on the chat. Where are we at? Is this a Final Four type showdown? Yes. Barrel Seagrass Rye is a big winner. Yeah, it is. I am not including Barrel Seagrass in this because A, it won last year, and B, there's no way I won't notice it. It's too unique. The problem with that is just the finishes, right? Like the Barrel Seagrass is going to be, I'll notice it right away in the blind tasting. These are all kind of your more classic ryes, and I'm doing that intentionally because otherwise, I'll know which one is the Seagrass right away, and it's going to taint my judgment. So. Cheers, Donner. Yeah. Yeah, March Madness. I'm gonna kind of do it in a way where we're gonna make it a February thing, and then we'll do the finals in March. So at least that's there, and then you can watch your basketball. Just been busy crying over his Packers losing in the playoffs. Oh man, Cohen. Put your dagger back in the holster, bro. I'm a wounded animal. I did, yes. Highways Double Rising. Yeah. And thank you for the recommendation. That was a good idea. Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. One rider ruled them all. There we go. Cheers, Leo. Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Oh, they did a rye one? Oh, okay, cool. Well, we'll see if I end up in the same place here. Yeah, they did a really good job with those. Yeah, I liked it a lot, and so I think it'll be fun. Dude, you're one of the best channels in Scotch and whiskey in general, bro. I hope you grow your ass. Hey, Daniel, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I appreciate that for sure. I try. I do what I can. And, thanks to y'all, I'm able to kind of continue to try to do new things and buy other stuff and stuff. So I really appreciate it. Never had more than one bottle of rye at a time. Yeah, man. I'll tell you, dude, I've definitely not had more than 20 something at a time. So it's going to be a lot. You bet, man. That I don't know. Telix I think he's been taking a little time off. We talked a little while ago, but yeah, he's been chilling, man. Hopefully he'll be back around doing his thing sooner than later. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean that's just it. I mean, of course, like the barrel Seagrass was my rye of the year, but the problem is just that like if I threw that in the mix, it would just, the idea is that I can't really tell. So, yeah, got to leave that one on the wayside. Dude, Pikesville Rye is so good. I reviewed that way early in my channel years. I mean, we're talking like probably 2018. Really, really good stuff. That'll be fun. Thanks, Donner Pass. Man, you guys are fucking sweet, man. I appreciate that. Very, very nice. I appreciate the compliments. Okay. All right, we're going to do 2 more whiskeys tonight because why not? All right. So we'll do a peated whiskey for sure. But so one of the things that I have here that I'll be honest, it's been kind of burning a hole in my whiskey shelf is the sample. It's a Glenlivet 15 French Oak Reserve. The ABV is it's 40. I like the idea of a French oak. Has anybody had this? We could do this one. The choices are endless. If folks want to just popcorn out some ideas of some stuff you see behind me, we could definitely do something different. I was thinking maybe trying this one out, and then we could do something else. But I really like the French oak stuff, man. The Balcones in particular. Kenneth, what's up, man? How are you? You have the Glenlivet. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of curious about this one. As much as, it's a 15-year-old, which is kind of a sweet spot. French oak, I dig it. I mean, it is 40%, but all right, fuck it. Let's do it. Normal Yeah, that's all right. We're gonna do this. We're gonna give it a try. We'll do this, and then we'll no, we're not doing the Ardbeg Day, Besley. No, that we gotta save for something a little more special. But we're gonna do this. We'll do this 15, and then we'll do something else. I'm happy to do like a viewer's choice or whatever within reason. If it's open, I'll drink it. The Ardbeg Day is not open, so we're gonna keep that one on the wayside. But feel free to popcorn some ideas if you guys want. It's a nice dram. So what I notice on the French oak, and I'm thinking a lot about the Balcones French oak that I've had. I really, really liked it. It gives it that kind of creamy, slightly chocolatey flavor. Okay, so far on this, and let me know in the chat if you've had this and what you think about it. I don't know what these probably go for, like $70. Here's the thing on this. Apple cinnamon. Classic Space Cider. Honey. You are getting a little bit of oak in the background. It's very light. A little nuttiness. The nose isn't anything special. I'll tell you that right now. It's no Dalmore cigar malt. Interesting. It does have a bit of that kind of rich vanilla creaminess, which I feel like the French oak brings a little bit more. How for those of you in the chat who have drink a lot of whiskey that are French oak or are very familiar, how would you describe the flavor that it adds? My description here is like it does kind of give a more creamy note, creamy bourbon cask kind of note. So we're talking like vanilla, like lighter vanilla, a little bit of almond marzipan kind of thing. It's not as detectable maybe on the nose. We're going to give it a taste. Glenlivet 15 French Oak Reserve. Happy Burns Night, y'all. We're in hour number 2, Solange. Ooh. Oh, man. Okay. Well said. Dude says end on Pete. No, not doing a little for 20. Not that one I got to wait on. That's not open yet. They really do. A couple weeks ago, we did that 12 Illicit Still, which was quite good. How is that PX Lafroy Cartridge? That was great. I killed a bottle of it already. It's really good. Daniel H says French oak adds a creamy toasted vanilla sweetness, but it rounds up the spirit. Yeah, that makes total sense, and that's exactly what I'm getting. Toasted is the note that I was missing. Yeah, I mean, again, you really are getting kind of a classic Glenlivet 12 here. Classic kind of Speyside honey, apple, cinnamon, a little bit of spice. But it's really on the back end of the development and the finish here where the goodness is coming in, it seems like. And that's that French oak. I like this. Even at 40%, I would put this one up there with that illicit still. It's in that 3.5 range, you know? I don't know what the price is, but let's take a quick look here. Yeah, one of the things, and to Andrew Page, to your point, the Glenlivet, one of the things I really hate about Glenlivet is like they're going backwards in terms of like their presentation. You know, they just redid their 18-year-old, I think, last year, where they dropped it in the U.S. from 43 to 40%, and the difference is stark. The 43%, I thought, is quite good whiskey. That 40% though. Okay, so this is around a $70 bottle. What could you do? What could you get for 15-year-olds at $70 these days, or a dime a dozen? Maybe not. I'm thinking about Old Pulteney 15. This reminds me a little bit of that, which I actually I think I like more than this. Maybe a little more. This might be on the cheaper end of 15s, actually. I don't know. It's fine. I don't think I'd pay $70 for this, but on sale, 60. It just doesn't have quite enough to separate it from the 12. The French oak finish is nice. I wish there was a little bit more depth to this. The depth really only comes on the finish, which, while good, is still, it doesn't change. I mean, this tastes like a 12 it tastes like a 12 that you know, dropped a couple drops of hot cocoa in or something. Yeah. $70. Yeah. I don't know if I'd pay it that much, but it's not bad. Let's see here. Mortlock 16. I haven't had that one. I've only had the 12. That's one of those distilleries I've had a tougher time with. Perhaps end on a ball blair. Okay. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. It's got the Starboard single cast French oak store pick from Mission last week for 50. Yes, marzipan. Yeah. But it does really vanish. Yeah, you just wish it was a little bit more. Michael Besley, I think you might be right. Maybe I will do a ball blair. Very consistent with the Glenlivet profile here. Coates knows. That was my whiskey of the year in 2020. Yeah. Glen Scotia 15 is probably the king of the 15-year-olds. And at such a good price, too. Still here in the U.S., you can get that for like sub $70. It's beyond good. Beyond good. I highly recommend it. Good point. The other one I was thinking of that's similar to that, is the it's a little bit cheaper, is that 14-year-old Glenfiddich bourbon cask reserve or whatever. Oh, nice. What's the recipe on that? You don't see those much anymore, man. Those are hard to get your hands on, which is unfortunate. Yeah, I like the way you're thinking on that, man. Definitely. Came back in these around 50 when some better scotches. Yeah. I'd say still worth it. I think it's worth 80. Coates, what say you? I honestly think it's that good. It's better than the 18 by far. I honestly think, yeah, I would pay $80 for that. It's that good of a whiskey. Cool. This one, I like the finish. I really do. The finish is where this seems to kind of shine. It's just missing a bit. I mean, again, as some folks were mentioning, I mean, you just want to see a little higher ABV on this. I mean, put this at 43. Come on. Who are you, Dalmore? I believe Dalmore 15, which is like $125, is 40% ABV. It's amazing they can get away with it. Because look, I mean, if you think about name recognition, man, everybody knows Macallan. Does it? I mean, outside the Scotch world, who the fuck knows Dalmore? Apparently enough people, because they haven't changed their ways. Another great 15-year-old whiskey around that $70, $75 price point, Ben Romick 15. If I was going to do a top 5 15-year-olds, that would be in it. Springbank would be in it, although the prices got outrageous on that. I think it's nuts for what it, I mean, it's like $150 now, which is crazy. Ben Romick 15, Pulteney 15. Highland Park 15, pretty good. The old one's better than the new one, I think. Glen Scotia 15, definitely. Not Glenalgie. Glendronach 15, Revival, yes. I don't know what else you'd put in there. There's probably a few. Not Macallan. James Chang's in the house. What's up, James? Good to see you, man. Another friend from the LA. Ralphie just gave the new seasonal Glen Scotia 12 and 82. He thinks that their recent popularity is going to lead to declining quality. That's too bad. I was on the verge of buying that. I probably still will. Yeah, Victoriana. I mean, but that 12-year-old is at cask strength too. I wonder why. Maybe they just use crappy cask or something. Yeah, no Glen Scotia in Kansas, but if the 15 was on the shelf at 80, I'd buy one tomorrow. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Glencadam 15. Good call, Coates. Irishman 17 is so good. Hard to believe it's 56%. Thank God I have a backup. Wow, you have a backup? There was only one. I bought that at a government store in Pennsylvania. I actually have it up there. I got to do a review of that. That's really good. Yep. Man, I hated the Springbank 15. I wouldn't buy that again at any price. Wow. Okay. I have a couple from 2015, 2016. I really liked it. Again, I know they're very batch specific. I don't know. Maybe there's another year that would do it a little more for you. I mean, it's all sherry, which I think is a little bit different than their other stuff. OBSV. Okay. Yeah, very interesting. Okay. Good stuff, man. At Peter White, that's a biggest bottle. Did you get the Tandy batch drink from SoCal on the show you shipped? I was just at SoCal store last week. Taking a Tandy batch drink bottle, starting it. Oh, you're talking to Cohen. Yeah. Cohen will let you know. Speaking of Delmore, I think if you put antlers on the bottle, insecure men will gravitate to it. Yeah. Something, man. I think their presentation is kind of nice. I mean, I wish they wouldn't have made the thing bigger. They used to be a smaller stag, which I think is fine, but they've made it so ostentatious. I do like their bottle presentation, but yeah, it's what's inside that counts as always, and they're kind of failing in that sense. I think I would pick Ben Romick cask strength over the 15. Great stuff. Okay. Yeah. Kilkerran 15 single cask. Springbank 15. Oh, are you talking about the 200th anniversary edition, right? I actually have some of that. Yeah. I should get around to, I haven't done a whole review of it yet, but no, he's talking about the 15-year-old. Coates. Yeah, that's the thing with Springbank batch matters in general. I don't think it benefits from more than 50% sherry maturation. Okay. Fair. I've never had the 18. I know that's of the Springbanks. So I do have some Springbanks. I have a bunch of different 12-year-old cask strengths. I have the local barley 9. I have a single cask Sauternes 11, the green 13, the rum cask 15, and the Madeira 17. I have had the 21, courtesy of Whiskey Pilgrim / Dram Divided, and that was a more bourbon forward one. That was really good. Unfortunately, I've not had anything but outside that. I have not had the 18, and I've heard the 18 is kind of the the black sheep of the family, if there can be one in Springbank. So I don't know. I might have to try that out sometime if anybody recommends it. I've had my jams for the night. Work will come early tomorrow. Yeah. Cheers, Glenn. Good to see you, Kenneth, man. Thanks for swinging in. Carnate Olorosa is still exceptional. And that's all batch 2, right? Ben Dram Hunter. Oh, are you also Ben Demon Hunter? Are you the same person? 2 accounts? Be sure to sub. This looks like you're talking about your brother. That looks like a Ben Demon Hunter thing. Codes. The 18 is a different recipe from each batch. So yeah, roll the dice, right? So there's a Springbank 12 cask strength coming up. I think it was the most recent batch is 100% bourbon cask. So they had this one that came out last year, which I got, which was the first time they included like 5% Burgundy cask in it. But then, of course, they have this other one, which is this 15. Or no, I'm sorry. It's a 12 cask ring, but it's all bourbon cask, allegedly. Anybody had it? Well, here's the thing with the 15. So there's the 15 that they brought back for the 200th anniversary year, which is 43%. And then there was the other classic 15. I'm not sure which one you're referring to. Maybe we could close the night with the 15. I could take a look if it's up there. I do have one. All right, good check on them. All right, y'all. We still got 22 folks in, so we're going to keep going here. Yeah, my final kind of feelings on this Glenlivet 15 is this is kind of a throwaway. I wish there was a little more happening here. Again, it's suffering on the ABV big time. This whiskey really needs 43% at least, if not 46. The French oak is there, and it's as weak as the palate of a Glenlivet 12. It does give it a little extra character. Definitely not worth the extra $30, in my opinion. You're not really getting that much extra. To each his own, but all right. IC86 is out. Good to see you, man. Take good care. Be well. Catch you next week. All right. Okay. I need one more Burns Night Dram to send us off into oblivion. It is not going to be the Dalmore Cigar Malt. By the way, if you are just joining, the mystery whiskey was the Dalmore Cigar Malt Reserve. It shows promise. It's not a bad whiskey. It's just overpriced and probably not worth the money. I'm sitting right around a 3 out of 5 for the score here. I feel like I could go 3.25. I feel like I could go 2.75. I don't know. We're going to give this its time to oxidize. We'll do a full review. I'm going to probably do a comparison with some other cigar malts, maybe with a cigar. But revisiting Dalmore after 5 years or so has not yielded better results. It's still a pretty disappointing whiskey that I would recommend only buying independent bottlings of, if at all. And yeah, is what it is. Okay. As far as I was thinking we'd do something peated, but I know somebody mentioned a Ball Blair. We could do an Octomore. We could do an Ardbeg. Oh, you know what? I think I know what we're going to do. Unless I hear strong objections. We're going to go to a distillery that I've increasingly fell in love with, especially their older bottlings of. It's got some peat. It's still available here in the U.S. at a really, honestly, decent price. Oh, what's that? And honestly, just all around awesome stuff. This is the guy. This is from when the guy who now runs Glenallachie was running the distillery. This is the Ben Riach Septendecim, 17-year-old peated single malt, 46% ABV. Oh, non-chill filtered. Oh, natural color right there on the label. If you haven't had this and you like peated whiskey, get it. It's a space cider. However, it shines. It really does. I believe this is all bourbon cask, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just do a quick check here. Again, they don't really take advantage. I'm telling you on here. It's not a fully peated whiskey, but it's peated. Also, the gold on brown. How are you supposed to read this? Uniquely for the space side. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, Old Ben Riach, Septendecim, 17 years old, peated, 46%, non-chill, natural color. This is the type of whiskey. This is the type of presentation that we should expect as seasoned Scotch whiskey drinkers, and I think is a good way to sign off Burns Night tonight. If you've had this one, let me know. Notice how it doesn't look anything like the Dalmore. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm going to have to get one, dude. I'm getting up there, you know. But I have to say, in my own defense, I mean, look at the writing on that. What were they thinking? This is a fantastic whiskey. And weirdly, despite how this was something that was released back in like 2016, this is the 4 Billy Walker left Ben Riach, and I'm just going to confirm this is a Billy Walker whiskey. I believe it is. So he puts his name on these. Ben Riach, man, let me just double check. I'm almost positive this is a Billy Walker before he went over to Glenallachie. Doesn't say. Usually they do say on here. It doesn't matter, though, because what this whiskey brings to the table is, honestly, this and Ben Romick, some of the better Speyside distilleries, in my opinion. Oh, a lot of vanilla. Funk, a little bit of earthy funkiness to this. Man. Interesting. So much vanilla. I don't even know, man. Like it's weird. The peat on this is so fresh. It's not like that iodine kind of what you want to call it from Isla. This is a much sweeter, more youthful, more pungent than Highland Park peat. I'm assuming they sourced this peat from somewhere. Great nose. Perfectly crisp peat, effervescence, smoke, bourbon cask notes, some dark fruit notes coming in. Really just great stuff. I swear this was a Billy Walker. No. All right. Anyways, let's give it a taste. Let me know if you've had this. This is the Ben Riach 17-year-old Septendecim. Honey, raisins, chocolate. Heavy, intense smoke. It's punchy. It's got aggression. It's got freshness, but it's also got depth. This is a good one. The weird thing is here in Chicago, we're seeing the Septendecim still on the shelf in places like Binny's. If you're in the Chicagoland area, Silver Locks in the house, FYI, for like $120, which is crazy these days. Especially because this is not a whiskey they make anymore. I would recommend that anybody who likes a good Islay whiskey look for this. It's that good. A lot of complexity, simultaneously relaxing, but also assertive, fresh, refined depth. Perfect. Really, really enjoy this one. Okay, good people. I am going to ride off into the sunset with this. I do want to wish everybody again a happy Burns night and thank everybody for hanging out. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. And by the way, if you haven't yet, like the page, like the video. If you haven't subscribed, we'd love to have you on board. Coming up Friday, full review, Aberlour Abuna Alba, the AAA. We'll be dropping Patreons. You'll be getting your access to that early as usual. And I'll see you next week where, surprise, surprise, I finally got my hands on a whiskey this weekend, which we will be tasting next week. Better late than never. Paul John, Christmas edition, 2021. Ex-bourbon, port, and Madeira cask. You guys know how much I love the Paul John Christmas editions. I finally got the new one that showed up here in Illinois. We're going to be uncorking that. We'll keep the fun going. So thanks, everybody. Man, much love. Everybody stay safe, be well. And I will catch you all next Tuesday, man. It's lunch. Enjoy your Burns night.